Hello, this is Van's Crossroads, and I'm Clair Van Steenwyk, or as some of you know me much better, Van the Radio Man from my old radio shows. Today I'm going to be talking with Tom Horne, who's now decided to run for Arizona's Superintendent of Public Instruction. Tom has a long political history in Arizona. He was a school board member for 24 years, 10 of which he was the president of the school board. He also served in the legislature for 4 years while serving at the same time on the school board. Then he served as our Superintendent of Public Instruction and then Attorney General. And before he became Attorney General or Superintendent of Public Instruction, he still practiced law full-time while he did all of this. Recently, a number of people, supporters and friends of his, asked him if he would please run again. However, they were asking Tom to run for Attorney General or Governor, as we all know that Tom's more than qualified to run for either and hold those offices. Much more qualified than those we've had in the past, I might add. But Tom has decided to run for Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction, an office he held previously. Now, my question to Tom today is this: what made you decide to run for Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction rather than Governor or Attorney General, as we know that with your history in law, you're more than qualified to make sure that the legislature doesn't pass stupid laws that you won't sign, and you may put forth legislation of effective laws that would protect our children, and you could do that without being Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Because the biggest problem we have that needs to be solved is in our schools right now. Our academics have declined. They've declined in general, and they've declined because of terrible things that pull attention away from it, like critical race theory, which I can talk about later on, which is racist, but which also detracts from academics. And so if we don't turn this around, we're not going to have a future as a country. China's #1 in math. We're number 25 in math in the test scores. If this trend continues in the future, China will be the world power and will be the future Ghana. We've got to solve the problems in our schools, and that's what I want to focus on.
You then are actually, some people would look at this as your main reason for running then for this office is both your history and your ability to educate our children rather than indoctrinate them, as it's been going on in the past, especially the past 4 years with what I would consider to be an unqualified person running the Department of Education.
Yeah, actually it goes back quite a long ways. It goes, because I've been fighting critical race theory for almost 20 years. A lot of people are just hearing about it now, but we had it in Tucson, in the Tucson Unified District and the adjoining district. They had what they called ethnic studies, and part of their curriculum was critical race theory, which they do. They divide kids by race. They put one group of kids in one classroom, another in another classroom, depending on their race, like in the Old South.
Right.
And they indoctrinate them that their race is the most important thing about them, rather than what we should be teaching the students, that we're all individuals and they need to learn to treat each other as individuals. And I destroyed that program when I was superintendent of schools last time. I wrote a bill. It took me a few years to get it through the legislature, but it passed. I held them to be not in compliance with that law. And then when I became Attorney General, I enforced it, and the ethnic studies, which included the critical race theory, was destroyed in our state. Then when I left office, it came back, and now it's spread quite a bit, so a lot more people are aware of the problem. And that's why I think I'm the most qualified to destroy critical race theory, because I've already done it once.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that answer, and for taking enough time out of your personal life to once again defend our children and educate them.
Yeah, you know, the future belongs to the educated. So if we don't do a lot better with our schools, we're headed for very bad territory.
I'm watching them pour millions of dollars into education, and we're not moving. It's kind of like putting gas in a car and then looking under the hood and seeing there's no motor there.
What we need to do is we need to get a renewed focus on education and on academics. When the focus is on critical race theory, then you don't get the academics. In fact, I was speaking to some teachers, and they said they knew a student who graduated from high school and was illiterate, and they traced it back, and they found he had a high school teacher who taught nothing but critical race theory. So the student ended up with a high school diploma that was meaningless because he was illiterate, he couldn't read and write. What we need to do is we need to focus on the academics, and then something you may want to ask me about is my plan to be sure that we know that the high school diploma means something by requiring kids to pass a statewide test to graduate.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.